Israel Adesanya is one of the most exciting and deadly strikers we've seen in recent UFC history. He surged onto the MMA scene as an exciting prospect and legendary kickboxer, and took the middleweight title in under 2 years. To say he's a unique fighter would be a huge understatement. From his fighting style to his personality, he's definitely a standout. In this video, we will break down the science and the stats behind Israel Adesanya. The first thing we want to talk about is the obvious standout when looking at Adesanya: his striking. His striking credentials go far back beyond his MMA career. He had an amateur kickboxing record of 32-0 and a pro record of 75-5 with 48 knockouts. He also had a short stint as a boxer with a record of 5-1. At the time of this video, he's currently undefeated in MMA at 19-0 with 14 knockouts. So what makes him such a successful fighter? One big standout is his body proportions. Adesanya is 6'4", which is 3 inches higher than the 6'1" middleweight average, and has an 80-inch reach, which is 5 inches longer than the divisional average. Adesanya is actually both taller and has a longer reach than the heavyweight division. He also has fairly narrow shoulders, so most of that reach goes to his long arms. He also has long legs with a leg reach of 44.5 inches, which is 2.5 inches longer than the divisional average. Adesanya definitely knows how to use this to his advantage. He often takes a very sideways stance and stays at range. He also comfortably switches between orthodox and southpaw to adapt to the situation at hand. Doing this, he can counter his opponents and carefully pick his shots. It's hard to say Adesanya has a favorite strike or two because his striking game is so well-rounded, and he has a lot of tools which allows him to remain unpredictable and tough to read. He does have some go-to techniques though. One of his favorites and most common ones is the pull-back right hand counter, where he leans back to avoid an incoming punch and fires back with a precise straight right hand or sometimes a right hook, which makes effective use of his reach. Sometimes it's difficult to always stay at range though. Adesanya likes to utilize his long arms to frame on his opponent and disengage if they get too close. If that doesn't work, a quick tie clinch and knee up the middle is another go-to technique. He doesn't hold on to it long and get greedy though, but instead just picks 1 or 2 strikes and then disengages. He likes to take his time and not rush his strikes or finishes, which is a big part of what makes him so effective. The Derek Brunson fight is a great example of this. Adesanya had him hurt and almost out multiple times during the fight, but he didn't rush to finish it and make mistakes, but instead took his time and picked him apart, and inevitably got the finish. Adesanya is not a high volume striker. He has a significant strikes landed per minute stat of 3.96 and a striking accuracy of 48%, which is about average compared to the rest of the UFC, but his defensive capabilities definitely stand out quite a bit more. He has a very low significant strikes absorbed per minute stat at only 2.4 and an overall striking defense of 65%, which is on par with some of the best defense stats in the UFC. At the time of this video, Adesanya has outstruck his UFC opponents 503 significant strikes to only 305. Moving on from striking, let's take a look at Adesanya's grappling, or more so, lack of grappling. For those who have watched him fight, it should come as no surprise that Adesanya likes to keep things standing. After all, he is a striker by trade. But in MMA, you only get to make things go your way if you're good enough at making sure your opponent doesn't get their way. Adesanya has been taken down 7 times in his UFC career, but usually not for too long and springs up fairly quickly. He has a high takedown defense percentage at 86%, meaning he's defended 43 of 50 attempted takedowns in his career. Although not known for his grappling or wrestling prowess, he does a good job at keeping the fight where he wants it. Speaking offensively, Adesanya doesn't grapple too much. He only has 3 attempted takedowns in his UFC career, but didn't succeed with any of them, giving him a takedown average and accuracy of 0. He also only has 1 official attempted submission in his career against Brad Tavares. Adesanya's grappling isn't the best on the roster, but is good enough to do what he needs to do, which is keep the fight standing where he shines best. Israel Adesanya is a one-of-a-kind fighter, bringing a level of proficiency in high-level striking that's rare to see even inside the UFC. His fights always bring excitement and hype, and we look forward to seeing more of him in the octagon. Thank you for watching our video. If you enjoyed, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for future videos.